on the news tonight. FG spent 22.44 billion naira on feeding 75,507 inmates. Tinubu must be sworn in or be asking for the impossible. LP factions. Tribunal adjourns Atiku's petition against Tinubu's victory. Supreme Court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's case to September. Also, BVN issued in Nigeria has no expiry date, CBN. And on sports, Awoniyi is a typical striker. Nottingham Forest star Gibbs White claims. Now the news in detail. The federal government will spend 22.44 billion naira in 2023 on the feeding of 75,507 inmates in correctional centers nationwide, an official said on Thursday in Abuja. The inmates are spread in 244 custodial centers nationwide. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, Dr. Shoaib Al-Ghori, said these during a high-level conference on corrections and decongestion of custodial centers. Al-Ghori said that 70% of the inmates were awaiting trial. He attributed the high number of awaiting trial inmates to arbitrary arrest, delay in dispensing justice, and inability to meet bail conditions. The Permanent Secretary said that the situation had led to the congestion of 82 custodial centers across the country. The total number of male inmates are 73,381 and 1,686 are female inmates. Out of the 75,507 inmates, 52,436 are awaiting trial, while 23,071 are convicted persons, with 3,322 as condemned inmates on death row. The federal government budgeted 22.44 billion naira in the 2023 appropriation to cater for the feeding of inmates. Failure to take action to decongest the custodial centers will come at a cost. The effect of overcrowding in the custodial centers have led to huge revenue and drain for the federal government. Dilapidation of the centers, criminalization of the society, and the inability to separate awaiting trials inmates from convicted persons, he said. Al-Ghori said there was need for holistic reform of the country's correctional system, including the modernization of custodial centers for appropriate reformation and rehabilitation of inmates. He said that stakeholders have since emphasized the need to build new facilities and redesign the bail system. The Lamidi Apapa faction of Labour Party has distanced itself from the calls for an interim government and the agitations that the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not be sworn in May 29th, pending the determination of the petitions before the Presidential Election Tribunal. The Labour Party faction said the swearing-in of Tinubu may not have any impact on the ongoing legal tussle on the presidential election involving our party, APC, and INEC. In a statement made available on Wednesday, the faction spokesman, Bayomi Arabambi, posited that the Electoral Act and Constitution of Nigeria did not give room for a vacuum. So whether the president-elect is sworn in or not, there is right to remove him legally if it is found out that he was not duly elected. Arabambi recalls how the court removed Chris Ngige and confirmed Peter Obi as the governor of Anambra in 2003. Citing sections 136 and 146 of the Constitution, Arabambi said only death and permanent incapacity can stop a president-elect from being sworn in. The LP factional spokesman said what Peter Obi is crying for is not supported by the law. He maintained that a refusal to swear in Tinubu as president will create a vacuum in the system, saying the law abhors this. While stressing that the law does not provide for interim president in this circumstance, Arabambi said even Peter Obi once benefited from the system of being sworn into office, despite pending petitions filed against him before the tribunal by Andy Uba. The law has to be compiled with, which is to swear in Tinubu as president of Nigeria And if anybody wants to change the narrative, they will have to change the law, he stated. He spoke further that Labour Party warns all obedient to clandestinely parading themselves as LP members and other obedient who may be agitating that the president-elect should not be sworn in to have a rethink, as Labour Party would not support any unlawful means of agitations or change of government violently. Going on to the next story. The Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC, sitting in Abuja, has adjourned further proceedings on the joint petition filed by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, challenging the outcome of the 2023 presidential election. Information report that a 5-member panel, led by Justice Arunat Amani, adjourned the petition until May 18th for the continuation of the pre-hearing session. The counsel of the petitioners, Chief Chris Uche San, had informed the court that the parties had met and agreed on modalities for a seamless progression of the pre-hearing session. The respondent counsels, including Mr. A.B. Mahmoud San of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Chief Wole Olanikwekun San of the President-elect, and Chief Charles Edosoma San of the All Progressive Congress APC, confirmed the report by counsel for the petitioners. The court also heard an application for live coverage of the proceedings, and the respondents said they would file their responses before Monday. Justice Samani therefore commended the petitions for their cooperation and agreement, saying it would assist in the quick conclusion of the pre-hearing session. The joint petition marked CA/PEPC/05/2023, filed by Atiku and the PDP, sought to withdraw the certificate of return issued to the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC by INEC. The petitioner maintained that the declaration of Tinubu as the winner of the presidential election was invalid due to non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022, that Tinubu's election was invalid due to corrupt practices. Atiku is praying the court to declare him the winner of the presidential election, having secured the second highest number of lawful votes cast at the election. However, in a reply filed by his team of lawyers, Tinubu queried the legal competence of petitions seeking to invalidate his election victory. Moving on to the next story. The Supreme Court has again adjourned the hearing in the suit filed by the leader of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, until September 14. Recall that a secessionist had on November 3, 2022, filed an appeal at the Supreme Court challenging the judgment of the Court of Appeals ruling, which stopped the Department of State Services, DSS. The appellate court had, on October 28, 2023, stayed the execution of its earlier judgment, acquitting Kanu of all charges and directing his release from the DSS custody. The information recalls that the Apex Court had, on April 27, 2023, heard the case but adjourned the matter till Thursday today. And to the next story. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has asked Nigerians to disregard reports and viral videos on social media suggesting that the bank verification number, BVN, issued by the bank in collaboration with the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, NIBSS, expires after a 10-year period. The Director, Corporate Communications Department of the Apex Bank, Dr. Isa Abdulmumin, in a statement on Wednesday, asked anxious Nigerians to relax as the BVN issued in Nigeria has no expiry date. Once a customer's biometrics has been captured and enrolled in the database of NIBSS, the BVN remains for life. However, the regulatory framework for BVN issued by the CBN in 2021 stipulates that consumers and customers can only change their records due to certain conditions spelled out in the document and after being cleared by relevant authorities. Therefore, we urge bank customers in the country, especially those whose biometrics have been captured by the system, to continue using their unique identifiers as they last their entire lifetime is stressed. To the next story coming from Oyo Kingdom. The ongoing selection process for the new Alaafin of Oyo has suffered another setback. This is owing to a renewed call for inclusion by 9 royal families who said they were also entitled to the stool. Alaafin of Oyo's stool became vacant as a result of the demise of the 45th Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Lamidi Atonda Olaiwola Adeyemi III. The monarch, who reigned for 52 years, had joined his ancestors at the age of 83. Since the demise of the traditional ruler, the ancient town is yet to have a new monarch. The available information states revealed that 119 aspirants were shortlisted, but only 57 people were interviewed. Baba Iyaji, the head of princes in Oyo, submitted all the applications to the Basharon of Oyo. A letter was then sent from the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy in conjunction with Atiba local government, directing the Baba Iyaji to attend to only Agunloye ruling house. But it seems the process is encountering a major challenge, as 9 royal families in the town said they had been sidelined. They noted that there is a pending court case challenging the selection process. The families then urged the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, not to approve the appointment of the new monarch until the pending court case is resolved. From Oyo, we go to Ekiti. One person was allegedly shot dead on Thursday when officers of Amotekun Corps in Ekiti staged clash with traders at the popular Atikoko area of Ado-Ekiti. Information gathered that trouble started after the Amotekun officers were trying to relocate the traders from Atikoko area of Ado-Ekiti to the new location provided by government at Agric Olokbe. However, some of the traders who were not ready to comply with the new policy attacked the Amotekun officers, with one of them opened fire on them. According to reports, 2 officers of the Corps were seriously attacked in retaliation by the traders. As at the time of filing this report, the area has been taken over by armed policemen to avert further crises within the community. Moving on to the next story from Kaduna. Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in Kaduna State, Reverend Joseph John Ayap, has confirmed that 11 out of the over 40 worshippers kidnapped in a Kaduna church by terrorists last Sunday have regained freedom. News of the release spread on Wednesday night, even though the authorities were yet to react. In a text message to information released Thursday morning, Reverend Joseph Ayap stated that, yes, some of them are back home, but 14 are still with the bandits. A woman with a child returned after they abandoned her in the bush. He said about 28 of the kidnapped worshippers have so far returned to their respective families. From Kaduna, we go to the foreign story. The UN Human Rights Council, acting on the request of Germany and other countries, will hold a special session on Thursday due to the ongoing fighting in Sudan. The purpose of the meeting is to condemn the violence and to insist on the observance of human rights and international humanitarian law, diplomatic sources said. However, many countries are opposed in principle to addressing problems in individual countries, since they regard these as interference in internal affairs. It is therefore unclear whether a planned resolution would receive the necessary majority in the Council, which has 47 member countries. Fighting first broke out in Sudan in mid-April after a long simmering power struggle erupted between de facto President Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, who heads the paramilitary RSF. Ceasefire agreements have repeatedly been broken since the clashes began. Fighting has continued in spite of the ongoing talks between delegations from both parties. The United Nations estimates that more than 700,000 people have been displaced by the conflicts. And to sports story. Nottingham Forest midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White has described Taiwo Awoniyi as a typical striker. Gibbs-White said this while reacting to Awoniyi's brace in Forest 4-3 win against bottom club Southampton. The Brace took his tally to 6 in 24 league appearances in the Premier League for the Forest this season. Also with this win against Southampton, Forest moved out of the bottom 3. Speaking on Awoniyi's impact on the game, Gibbs White expressed delight that the Super Eagles striker 2 goals were deserved. He was what we could call a typical striker. The midfielder was quoted on Forest's website. If you give him his chances in front of goal, he's going to score, and that's what he did. He had a bad injury and he has worked so hard to come back, so absolutely delighted for him that he's got 2 goals which he deserves. That sports story ends the world news from BGI TV Current this hour. Before we go, some major headlines. FG spends 22.44 billion naira on feeding 75,507 inmates. Tinubu must be sworn in. Obi is asking for the impossible LP faction. Tribunal adjourns Atiku's petition against Tinubu's victory. Supreme Court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's case to September. We also brought to you BVN issued in Nigeria has no expiry date, CBN says. And on sport, Awoniyi is a typical striker. For more updates on our broadcast on YouTube, the handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rebila Lawa. Good evening.